is time, everyone, to get into this week's book news. Our very first story comes from Texas. They are introducing a bill targeting booksellers who offer what they deem as obscene material. Texas Representative Nate Schatzline introduced House Bill 1375 into the Texas legislation. This bill would allow businesses to be held liable if a minor reports damages from a work deemed obscene. In addition to fees for damages, the penalties would include court costs and attorney's fees. In a quote to X, the Texas Freedom to Read organization said the increased risk of lawsuits will make it harder for retailers to do business in our local communities and in Texas as a whole. What school district is going to work with a bookseller accused, falsely or not, of distributing harmful materials to minors? So annoying. What the hell?
I think this is like the fourth or fifth state that has done this. I think Oklahoma might have been, or Arkansas might have been the first one. So I think there's just a little bit of steam with this that is being kind of taking place in a whole bunch of states now, doing similar laws, proposing similar bills.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. There's this push to do this, and on the surface you're like, yeah, I don't want, in the same way that we don't like want kids to buy pornographic magazines from the gas station. Like, I understand on the surface why people might be in support of this bill, but what people need to understand is that the language of these bills is so vague on purpose. What constitutes obscene is the question that keeps coming up, and there's no clear definition, and that line keeps changing. So a lot of things from classic literature, The Bluest Eye always comes up, The Color Purple, Handmaid's Tale. There are so many things, and for all you romance listeners out there, basically any of those books is going to fall into the list. And so it basically makes it impossible to have true like freedom of speech, because you're not able to legally sell materials without a clear definition of what this means and how to appropriately distribute them.
Exactly. So call your representatives, make sure that they're trying to either backtrack from this or misspecify what the wording means, because this is going to continue to happen. On some lighter news, I don't know if you heard of this bookstore called Serendipity Bookstore in Michigan. They had some help moving storefronts over the last couple of weeks. The owner of the store, Michelle Toplin, put out a call to help move thousands of books to a new storefront, which was two blocks over. And over 300 residents showed up and helped move 9,000 books in less than 2 hours. The volunteers from the Human Chain, aka a book brigade, and they moved one book at a time. This just warmed my heart when I saw the news this week. It's just people coming together for the love of books, and it was just really bright, easy news that we needed to hear.
Our next story, my other fellow crazy Lindsay Lohan, to start an adaptation of Sophie Stava's Count My Lies. Deadline describes the story as when compulsive liar Sloane Caraway fibs her way into a nanny position for the gorgeous and charismatic Violet and Jay Lockhart. It seems she's finally landed her dream job. But little does Sloane know she's entered a household brimming with secrets that are about to explode, with potentially catastrophic consequences for all. So Lindsay Lohan will play Violet, the mother in this situation, which in my mind, this is just like a sign of where I'm at in my life. I was like, oh, obviously she's going to play Sloane. But it's like Lindsay Lohan's far past nanny age, Lindsay, and that's just like a consequence of how you grew up with her. The series is in development by Hulu. There's no release date yet, but it seems like it could be a fun one.
I'm just in love with the Lindsay Lohan renaissance. Like, good for her. You know, she had some like crazy troubles when she was younger, growing up in the spotlight. I don't think she had like the best of parents, really. So I'm glad that she's in a much better headspace and getting back to doing what she loves.
Right, because I will argue this till the end of time. She is talented. She is.
Yeah, she's a great actress. Like, I just feel bad. Like, the people around her just did her wrong. So I'm glad that she's coming back and doing it on her own terms, it sounds like. So I'm happy for that.
Agreed.
And then in some other news, a program in Brazil allows prisoners to reduce their sentence by reading. We were sent this by our friend Elisa. I don't know if you knew this, but Brazil is home to one of the largest prison populations globally, with over 800,000 people behind bars. So the Ministry of Justice in Brazil introduced this new law that allows them to read a book, turn in a book review, and then that would allow them to reduce some of their sentences. They can submit up to 12 reviews per year, which equates to 48 days in remission in total. The library collection has audiobooks, books in Braille, and books in different languages to make sure that all of their people are able to have equal opportunity. Thought that was really sweet.
I'm obsessed with this. I'm obsessed with this. And I feel like it speaks to the value of stories in really opening people's minds and like adjusting behaviors that maybe they didn't understand were the context around or where they were coming from or how they came about. I'm obsessed. I love this so much.
Yeah, and I think the objective of this, they kind of wrote it down, is to encourage improved literacy, increase the capacities for self-reflection, and support rehabilitation, which, what better way? I think reading is just so special, and it makes them build communities within them too. So I'm here for it.
I agree. I agree. Okay, that is all that we have for book news this week.